I'm Ellen Hesse. I'm the principal at Abbey College Cambridge. The Abbey community is studious, it's ambitious, very caring and supportive. You'll hear from several members of our community today. You'll hear from the Vice Principal Academic about Andy, about our academic excellence and how we support students to get to top universities. You'll also hear from the Director of Operations, Mike, about our outstanding boarding provision and enrichment program. And the Director of Boarding, Helen, and the Vice Principal Pastoral, Caroline, will be ready to answer any of your questions about wider experience and our provision. But we'll start with our two students, Richie and Abril. And the reason is that they are the ones who benefit from our provision. They are the ones who've been on that journey at Abbey College, Cambridge. And also because our students' voice is the most important voice. So therefore, you'll hear from them first. So Richie, you've been here for 4 years, okay? So you've completed GCSEs. You are now about to finish your A-levels. Could you just explain what your journey has been like so far?
Yeah, it's been an interesting 4 years. COVID was interesting in the middle of my GCSE, but it's been enjoyable. I feel like the teachers here, the staff, my friends have all been very supportive. It's a nice environment, Cambridge. It's nice and quiet. It's good for studying. It's been enjoyable.
And Richie, can you give us some examples of your academic progress and how that support that you've been given contributed to that academic success?
Teachers are always happy to answer any questions I have after class. They're always happy to take out time, if needs be, to answer any questions I have about lessons. I know I spend about an extra 30 minutes a week back in GCSE every single week with my math teacher and my English teacher to boost my grade. It certainly worked, and I'm just grateful for the amount of support they've given me.
What university are you hoping to get to?
Right now, I'm hoping to get into Warwick's for economics.
Yeah, and are you on track with your grades?
I'm on track.
Yeah, good. So, and also, I think, Ricky, the first time I met you, that was during the Easter holiday. So when you decided to spend Easter holidays at Abbey College, Cambridge, you did not go home. And I saw you spending lots of time with your friends, doing jigsaw, going on a trip, eating breakfast, lunch, dinner in the dining hall with your friends. So could you explain to our prospective students what our community life is like? How have you benefited from being in this community?
Yeah, as a boarding school, you're always surrounded by your friends in boarding, during holidays. You can form some very close relationships with people you know in your year group.
And Richard, going back to the university support, now, could you give us some examples how Abbey College has supported you to get to your first choice university?
So Abbey College have a PDD program where they...
What is PDD?
Pre-degree diploma. It basically is a few months where they focus on a specific subject of your choice, the one you want to do at university, and they help you build up knowledge that you need for university application. For me as well, they also have a Cambridge University tutoring almost for about 30 students, where we have private tutoring from an external company. We do it in about 10 or 12 people per tutor. And I'd say that also greatly helped my application at the end as well.
Thank you, Richie. Our vision is to create a community that is energized by the love of learning and pursuit of outstanding achievements for all. What is your first-hand experience?
Yeah, I mean,
that?
I've seen it firsthand how a lot of people in the school studies very hard. If you go into library even at 6, 7 p.m., you still see people in there working. I've seen it in my friends towards their end of A-level a few years ago, where they are spending plenty of time focused on studying, getting the grades they need.
Yeah, perfect. Richie, thank you very much. And Abriel, now, Abriel, I will build on what Richie has said, because when I spoke to Abriel some time ago, one thing that she said was that when she came from a different school and joined Abbey College Cambridge, she was so surprised how everybody took studying so seriously and how focused they were, that she became more focused as well. So Abriel, if you can reflect on that experience, what it is, what made you to adapt this attitude?
Yeah, I mean, I remember last year around this time, I was also in this same webinar and I was listening, and the same thing basically came up, that Abbey is highly competitive, that people here are very studious. And of course, I thought of that and I thought, this is really great. Like, I want to be in an environment where, you know, my peers and my teachers and everyone around me is motivating me. But when I came here, like I said to Ellen before, it was still a surprise because I was sat in a classroom where everyone was basically putting in the most effort they could and everyone was motivated. And I mean, I did come from a competitive school before, but I think this is a little bit of a step as well. But yeah, I think it's just motivating to be in an environment where it's not just your peers, but also your teachers are constantly pushing you and trying to make sure that you get the most like breadth and depth in all your subjects at all times.
Which subjects have you improved most since you joined?
I think probably politics, because we study a lot of UK politics, and although I have like my own personal interest in politics, I didn't know much about UK politics, and luckily my teacher has been like very supportive in helping me, and there's like a lot of reading to do, and a lot of other students in my class as well are super engaged and take a lot of time outside of the classroom to do their own research on subject.
And I think it's good that you've mentioned that actually there's quite a lot that people have to do outside of the classroom. So Abriel, can you explain to our prospective students what are the opportunities outside of the classroom?
So, I mean, I think living in Cambridge really, really helps. It's a city that's completely catered for students. I mean, that's what I think. I think it's extremely easy to move around. It's extremely easy to find opportunities like work experience, volunteering. We have a lot of open days at the university, if that's what you're interested in. There's open lectures. I mean, I went to one that's in physics, and I have no idea anything about physics, but I was just really interested in like alternative energy. So I went to that with a friend, and it's a great plan for an evening. But also within your own subjects, there's lectures, and honestly, just wherever you walk in town, there's so many opportunities.
And Abriel, I'm aware that one of your teachers recognized your talent and your ambition for top universities and introduced you to a university professor at the University of Cambridge. Is that correct?
Yeah, my history and politics teacher basically got me in contact with a professor of history at Trinity College in Cambridge, and that was really helpful. Like Richie mentioned earlier, we have the Oxbridge program, so I'm also part of that right now. I mean, I know he did it last year, but I'm still doing it right now. I'm still in the process. But we have basically a personal tutor, and on top of that, the fact that I got to meet a professor and just ask all my questions and have them all answered, and any like little queries about just the university life, and everything was answered. So it's been really helpful.
Perfect, thank you. And we are an international community, Abriel. Okay, we have 46 different nationalities here. So how has it changed your life? Have you benefited in any way from living in this international community?
I mean, I think it's really great. I was always looking for, when I was looking to study abroad, I was definitely looking for an international community, and the fact that we get one here, I think it's really great. We get to learn so many different cultures, so many different customs, so many different ways of living, and even picking up little things in people's languages. I think it's all really interesting. So it's been really great.
Thank you, Abriel. And I'll go back to our vision statement, and I will ask you exactly the same what I've asked Richie. So our vision is to create a community that is energized by the love of learning and pursuit of outstanding achievements for all. What is your first-hand experience of our efforts?
I think definitely just being in a community where everyone is motivated, everyone is engaged, and everyone is encouraged. I think that perfectly links to that statement. But also the fact that we're such a strong community. And I think Richie mentioned this earlier, that boarding school is a great way to get to know people and become really close. And I guess living with people and spending so much time really, really bonds you. So I think it's really great.
Excellent. I think relationships matter to us. We have really strong relationships between students and staff, and students among themselves, and staff body as well. So that's how we support each other on the journey. Thank you, Abril, and thank you, Richie. I will now hand over to Andy, who is our Vice Principal Academic. Over to you, Andy.
Fabulous. Thank you very much, Ellen, and thank you to Richie and Abril. They've done a wonderful job of introducing everything that we do here, and that's really made my job this morning very easy. So a personal thank you to both of you. As the academic lead for Abbey College Cambridge, it will come as no surprise to anybody that results and university destinations are a key part of what we'll talk about today. But we'll move quickly on from that and really focus on the core question that so many of you are interested in, and what is my academic life going to be like at Abbey College Cambridge, and how, to use that phrase that Ellen has just used, that journey, how do we support you all the way through your journey and to get to the destination that you really want, which is the university. And of course, that starts fairly straightforwardly with academic results, which should now hopefully be on your screen. And you'll see from those results, which of course you probably have looked at or are already aware of from our website, but you'll see that the results are fantastic across all of our programs. And it's not just the 2022 results, which are really phenomenal. I can challenge you to go to our website and look back through our history, our 25+ year history, and you will see that our results are phenomenal year in, year out. And one of the biggest things that you can benefit from at Abbey College Cambridge is that consistency of performance. And it's not just because we have absolutely phenomenal students like Richie and Abril. It's that our whole community is passionate, and to use that phrase that Abril said, we're all engaged. We all have a genuine passion for learning, and we live our vision of that community energized by learning day in, day out. And those results, of course, transfer directly to phenomenal university destinations such as 1 in 4 of our students moving on to a G5 university last year, and for the last many years. We have a very high rate of performance there with Imperial and UCL and the London School of Economics, and of course with Cambridge and Oxford. And the majority of students, 2/3 of students, moving on to Russell Group universities or top 20 universities. And it's really important to note as well, folks, that that's not just from our A-level program, it's also from our wonderful foundation program as well, moving on to both Russell Group universities and with our medicine foundation program, moving directly onto MBBS undergraduate medicine programs as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about just how proud we are of our medicine provision a little bit later on today. But importantly, let's talk through what your life might be like, either as a student here or a parent or agent of a student here. Because this is the key question for today. What does my academic life actually look like? And we're going to start, as all good journeys do and all good stories do, at the very beginning of when you first arrive at Abbey College Cambridge. And we're going to start when you arrive here with some testing, because it wouldn't be academic life if I didn't talk about some tests. And of course, as Ellen mentioned, we have students arriving from 46 different countries, and that's 46 different countries worth of culture and experiences, perspectives, and educational systems. And what we need to do with you is to understand how that has shaped your learning so far, and what position, what point in your learning, what point down the road you are with that journey. So we'll test you in your English language. We will test you in the chosen subjects to know what you know now about biology, psychology, economics, mathematics, so that we can best support you and move you along your journey to that top university destination. And of course, one of the other things that we need to test is your general approach to thinking, your general approach to problem solving. And we do that through a national aptitude test known as the CAT4. This helps us to not only predict a future target grade, but it also really gives us academic insight into how you think. And this means that we can personalize your learning and tailor your experience in the classroom to the kind of skills that we need to develop in you. Now, whilst there are many personal skills that need developing, there are also a broader set of skills that we believe it is our responsibility to develop with students. And at Abbey College Cambridge, we are very much a digital learning environment because we believe that it's incredibly important to prepare students for the 21st century. We work very closely with the global brand leader for technology and education at Microsoft as part of their Showcase Schools program for digital innovation and skill development. And we believe very strongly in developing the 6 core skills that Microsoft have identified as being critical for 21st century learning. Things like collaboration and skilled communication. And you'll have just seen from Richie and Abril how wonderfully they can communicate their experiences. But this is so important, not just for making progress within the classroom, but also for university life and getting the most value from university and also in the workplace in the future. And we believe that all of our students are going to be future leaders. So problem solving, innovation, collaboration, communication are key skills that we hope to develop in our students. And we do that in the classroom. So as part of your day in, day out life at Abbey College Cambridge, what might your day look like? Well, a sample timetable, and this of course is not the experience of every student, but a sample timetable might look something like this. You'll start your day around about 8:15, 8:20 when you leave boarding and you arrive into the dining hall for your breakfast. And at 9 o'clock, you'll register with a group of tutees together to build community, to build common experience, to understand what's going on in the school, but also within your house. And that house life can get quite competitive in between the houses, but that will hopefully be mentioned later on today. And broadly speaking, you'll engage in lessons from around about 9:30 to 4:30. On certain days, that might run very slightly later or finish very slightly earlier. You'll see as well that on a Wednesday afternoon, we actually stop lessons so that we can all, the entire Abbey College Cambridge community, participate in enrichment activities, things that will really help build your experiences, your skills, and help to develop the kind of attitude to life that we hope all of our students have. Our vision really is enshrined in those Wednesday afternoons. Now, whilst this is a typical Year 12 timetable, if you're interested in joining us on the foundation or on a 1-year GCSE or in the Year 10 or Year 11 programs, it will largely look very similar. There may just be very many more or fewer colours depending on which program you are, and those colours representing the different subjects. But broadly speaking, that's what your day in, day out experience is going to be. And through those weeks, as you proceed through your lessons, we need to understand the kind of progress that you're making from your initial arrival in the college. So we will regularly assess what's going on with our students. Now, you'd expect this in any school, so we'll move quite quickly through this, but we will assess you in the class. We will regularly assess the progress that our students are making through a variety of different methods that you will be very familiar with as a student in a school now, and to reassure parents and agents that there is a high degree of academic rigor and understanding of student progress. As a student, that progress is discussed and developed through work with your personal tutor. We mentioned a few minutes ago that you meet on a regular basis with your tutor every single day, but also after these key examination points, you'll meet with your personal tutor and you'll discuss your progress. And what we'll look at is, again, personalizing your learning and your understanding of your subjects through either providing additional support or academic interventions, such as small group sessions, additional lessons, or perhaps peer mentoring, so that an older student might perhaps coach you through the particular challenges that you're experiencing in physics or economics, or whatever the subject happens to be. We'll also look at the subject breadth that you study, and perhaps in many cases 4 A levels might be too much. So we might reduce that breadth to 3 A levels so that you can attain that necessary depth. And of course, our ultimate goal is to move you on to university. So it may very well be at the end of the first year of A level, we have a discussion about whether A levels are suitable as the best platform for you to move on to university, or whether a more targeted pathway-driven approach through the foundation program is more appropriate. And ultimately, as I say, the main goal is to move you on to university. Now, whether you're listening and you're thinking about joining us in GCSE, or whether you're in the or thinking about the A-level program or the foundation program, ultimately, we know that the goal of our students is to move on to university. So this will be absolutely applicable to everybody. And of course, like you would expect, we have a dedicated university process. Every student will be assigned in year 12 a UCAS advisor. The university advisor that you are given is a subject specialist in your field, and they are trained and highly experienced in supporting not only international applications to university, but with the university application process in the UK, UCAS, and they can therefore support us as best as possible. We also recognize the incredible importance of university progression to our students and to our market. So we have a dedicated team that we call the Directors of Studies, and their sole role in the organization is to make sure that the university application process runs as smoothly as it possibly can and as successfully as it can, managing, guiding both students and university advisors to reach those ultimate heights of G5, Oxbridge, Russell Group universities. A key part of this work, of course, takes place on a weekly basis, meeting one-to-one or in very small groups with your university advisor. But it's so much more than that. And Ellen asked Abriel about the opportunities that take place outside of school, and we'll talk through a few of those now. But the key thing to understand is that these all form part of what we call the elite university preparation. And we have 4 main programs that I'm going to cover off today. Our Abbey Inspires program, the pre-degree diploma, which has already been mentioned, our Oxbridge program, again mentioned by both students earlier, and our medicine provision as well. And we'll look at each of these as part of your life here at Abbey College Cambridge. So once you've finished your lessons for the day at around about 4:30, as we discussed, you might go off to the gym. You might go off and have some food. You might go and catch up with some friends. But later on in the evening, every single evening, from Monday to Friday, every day of term time, we run something called the Abbey Inspires program. The Abbey Inspires is an academic enrichment program of evening lectures, seminars, workshops, guest speakers, and trips spread across every subject that we offer and many that we don't, all of which are designed to help fulfill that vision of the college and create a community energized by the love of learning. And the love of learning really is what the Abbey Inspires program is all about. Exciting, topical concepts, undergraduate concepts, but simply delivered, appropriately delivered to our students to really help drive their passion for their subject area, or in certain cases to help them find their passion. So we have a broad range of programs. This year alone, we've delivered to date over 200 different events. And the aim of each of these is to try and find passion and develop passion. It's all well and good providing these opportunities, but what if no student takes them up? Well, over the course of this year to date, and this number will only increase, there have been over 3,000 attendances to Abbey Inspires evening events. So not only do we put on events every single evening, but they are attended by our students, which really does help to show that it's not just students like Richie and Abriel from earlier who love learning. Over 3,000 attendances have taken place across this year, and that's really exciting. One of the things that we think is also really important with the Abbey Inspires program is to constantly develop and to constantly add new ideas to our range of programs. And this year, over a third of the programs that have been delivered have been brand new and never experienced before. Events such as the evolution of altruism, a biological study of this area, a behavioral finance study of the tulip mania that took place in the 1630s. A really fascinating talk, actually, because most of us believe that social influence and social influencers are actually just a thing that have occurred in a post-YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok world. But actually, the kind of social influence and herding that we see nowadays with regards to asset bubbles like cryptocurrencies is something that took place with tulips way back in the 1630s. So it's a really fascinating study. Even more fascinating, arguably, are medical ethics. Medical ethics, not just applicable for those interested in medicine, but those also interested in pharmacy, as well as broadly psychological study as well. So lots of really exciting things that go on and provide a real academic breadth and range of things to look at. The pre-degree diploma, our second of 4 programs, aims to develop academic depth. Students will select one area that they wish to study at undergraduate level. So this might be engineering, this might be medicine, it might be business. And they will spend time weekly developing their understanding of this topic area in a way that doesn't cover anything from the curriculum. It's really important that our students have something exciting and engaging to talk to university admissions tutors about. And the pre-degree diploma really helps do 2 things. It helps our students write exciting, engaging personal statements, application essays to the UK universities, and it also helps the students to have interviews to really talk in depth, intelligently, and insightfully about their topics of choice. And this is really powerful. Now, of course, not every student will have an interview for university, but what we do believe is that every one of our students is going to be a future leader. So this year, very excitingly, we've added a new option that is a pan-subject program, something that isn't related to what a student wants to do at university, but looking even further into their career. All of our students, we believe, will be leaders in one way or another in the future. And this year, we are excited to offer an industry-based program developed by a company called the Ivy House, who consult with some of the world's global brand leaders and develop the new leadership within those companies. So the Ivy House organization trains the new management and leadership teams at Google, at Ford, at L'Oreal, at Microsoft, and they then take the learning, they distill their professional industry learning, and they've turned it into a highly reflective leadership program that our students can work their way through, so that when they leave Abbey College, not only do they have the fantastic university destination, not only do they have the phenomenal results, but they also have a set of skills, especially in leadership, that they can take into their future careers as well. Our third program is the Oxbridge Candidate Program. Mentioned by both Richie and Avril already this morning, the program here designs to give our students the necessary knowledge and skills to successfully apply to Oxford or Cambridge. And throughout this program, the knowledge that will be built in addition to the pre-degree diploma and the Abbey Inspires is really quite astounding, as well as the preparation, practice, and coaching for both admissions tests and interviews that will help our students find a truly competitive edge when they do apply to university. Now, arguably even more competitive than Cambridge and Oxford is applying for medicine. And I mentioned earlier how unbelievably proud we are of our medicine preparation program. Now, many other schools may offer a medic prep program, but that might be in the form of a medic club or perhaps 1 hour a week. Well, we don't do that. From year 12 onwards, we offer 7 taught hours per week for a full year to prepare our students for the incredible rigor and challenge of a medical application. And this includes many similar features from the Oxbridge Candidate Program: admissions testing prep, interview preparation, extended reading and media, but it also includes extended teaching. It also includes career guidance and work experience. Today, right now, there are students who left school this morning on the early train to go over to Bury St Edmunds, a nearby town, to one of the hospitals there, West Suffolk College, and to one of the universities, one of the hospitals, sorry, just up the road here, Addenbrooke's Hospital, a phenomenal teaching and research hospital. This kind of preparation has helped our students get increasingly high numbers or high success rates at interview and at offer. Last year, we had our best ever year with over 22 medicine offers, and that represented a 94% success rate for our students, where almost everyone was getting an interview. This year, live in 2023, we've gone one better, and 100% of our medics have an offer. And that's absolutely phenomenal. The key challenge, if you're listening as a student and you think, well, I'm not a medic, but you might be an Oxbridge candidate, or you may wish to get the highest possible grades and go to the best possible university. And the challenge in achieving this is doing it all in the short space of time that you'll join us for. It is incredibly difficult to do. And we believe that much like the child in this picture, your role is to put one step in front of the other, and we will support you in every single step of your academic life with us here at Abbey College Cambridge. But one of the most important things that we can do is to help you in this by providing as much support and teamwork as we possibly can. So we believe very strongly in building a tribe and a family around you and developing a community. And I'm going to pass over now to Mike Corbett, who is going to talk through some of these systems for you as soon as I can find the button to unshare my screen. And that's okay. Thank you very much, Mike. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Just to confirm, you should be looking at a slide that says, what can I do after school? So what Andy has outlined there is the phenomenal success we have academically and everything that goes on around the classroom to give you that best possible chance of entering an elite university. What I want to talk to you about is the things that go on outside of the classroom, because they're just as important. Now, one of my roles in the college is I will do most of the applicant interviews. So if you're on the application journey, it may be I've already met you and we've had an interview. It may be that we've got one coming up in the near future. The reason that's important is I know the questions you're likely to ask me, because you already know the great results and the great student destinations, as Andy has just outlined there. The questions I get asked the most are a little bit more about what you're going to do when you're not studying. And we can break those down quite simply. The first one is, what can I do after school? What's going on outside of the classroom? We don't want robots here who do nothing other than study. We're not an exams factory. What we want you to do is come here, work hard, of course, but we want you to have that full 360-degree experience of life in one of the country's leading colleges in probably the best university city in the world. So what can you do after school? We have more than 50 different clubs. These are running after school, they're running in the evenings, they're running at the weekends. And it covers everything you can possibly imagine. Okay, so everything you'd expect, of course, if you look on the screen here, we have music clubs. This is our Abbey Fest that we ran 2 weeks ago with more than 150 students watching other students and staff performing together on stage. Bottom left here is our sports day, the culmination of all our different sports clubs. We bring the whole community together. We go to the University of Cambridge sports ground and we hold our sports day there. And there, what you're seeing there, actually the house winners at Juno, one of our 7 houses. The college is split into 7 houses, so it's a community within the wider Abbey College Cambridge community. And each house is split into tutor groups. And as Andy mentioned, at the beginning of every day, you'll meet in your tutor, in your registration slot. So it's a community within a house community, within a college community. And then there's just one example here of one of the clubs that we're doing. This is a clip and climb activity. that one of our tutor groups went on. So there are many, many different things to get you engaged in outside of school. A couple of examples here. An important word here comes back to something that the principal, Ellen, mentioned at the start. She mentioned about relationships. That relationships, of course, you're going to want to set up new friendship groups. Very easily done because we have such a strong induction program when you arrive. Then you're going to be building relationships with your friendship groups, with your peers, but also with the teachers and the boarding staff like myself. So an example here, you've got one of our English teachers in the music club. Alongside that, you're seeing a picture with a Christmas tree in the back. That's our Christmas ball that we hold at Homerton College. There are multiple things going on to add to your academic experience. And one thing we find is when our students go to their university interviews at elite universities, the universities, they're not asking you questions from the curriculum. They know you're an A-star student. That's how you got the interview. They want to know what else you've done, all the enrichment that you've done outside of the classroom, all the clubs that you joined when you were with us at Abbey College, Cambridge. Andy mentioned there that Wednesday afternoon, the whole community comes together to enjoy an enrichment program. It varies every year, and we're very, very excited about the program that we're putting together for this September. Give the opportunity for you to build on your existing skills or try out something really new in the comfort and the safety and the enjoyment of the community that you'll be joining. And by the way, this is all going on in probably the greatest university city in the world. If you've not been to Cambridge, it's difficult to tell you how good a place it is to study. It's got everything you want in a city. It's got museums, parks, rivers. It's got nice shops, coffee shops, cinemas. But you know, it's actually very small. It's very safe. It's very, very welcoming to international students. And of course, it's surrounded by Cambridge University. Cambridge University is the biggest employer in this city. There really is an air of academia. The other question I get asked is, of course, well, where am I going to live? Where am I going to live? What's boarding like? Well, we're very lucky. We have 4 very distinct boarding houses. And we're probably the only boarding school in the UK who can look you in the eye and say, we have more than 400 single bedrooms per students. More than 400 single rooms. We have more than 380 single ensuite rooms. So it really is a phenomenal boarding experience. When you join us, you're likely to go into either Abbey House or Tripos Court for your first year with us. We talk about a student journey in terms of academic, but also applies in terms of boarding. So maybe year 1, you're going to join Abbey House, 118 single ensuite rooms. Tripos Court, which is a 4-minute walk from the college itself. Abbey House is attached to the college as part of the building that I'm in right now. Tripos Court has 130 ensuite rooms. Purbeck House is directly opposite the college. I could leave here and be there within a minute. It's that close. And there's 110 ensuite single rooms in Purbeck House. And then we have Orchard House. This is about a 1 kilometre walk away. And this is designed for some year 13s who perhaps want to experience a little bit more independence, living a bit more off-site, getting them ready for that university experience. So single rooms are absolutely the norm at Abbey College, Cambridge. There's examples here of the single rooms that you yourself could be staying in from September onwards. But there's also some very, very strong community areas within each boarding house. Okay, so you'll have the balance between your privacy and also some great places to socialize with your new friends from one of the 46 different countries that the students come from. The final picture in this slide is our dining room. This is a question I do get asked. I get asked, what's the food like? The food is magnificent. Okay, we have an international catering team who've worked with us for 7 years. They're a big, big part of our community. They will know you. They will be serving you breakfast, lunch, dinner. They're there 7 days a week. They're there over the Easter holidays, over the half-term holidays. So if you choose to stay with us, Richie mentioned earlier, he voluntarily chose to stay with us because there's such a good, vibrant community here over the holidays as well. So that's a very, very quick introduction to our boarding, a very, very quick introduction to the things going on outside of the classroom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand back over to John and Tori. John, I'm sure the delegates here have some questions for us. I don't know whether you want to start firing them at us, please.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, everyone. And apologies for the short delay we experienced earlier. Hope it didn't cause too many inconveniences. Yes, thank you to those of you who have provided us with questions. Hopefully we went some way to answering some of those, but if you have any additional questions, now is the time to ask them to us. So you can do that via the chat function or the Q&A function, which you should see at the bottom of your screen. So please do fire those questions to us and I will put those to the team. We had a few questions pre-registration, and one of them, Mike, I think probably you can deal with first off the bat is you talked a little bit about the interview process that students go through. Can you just talk through the steps of application that students would go through if they want to come and join us in September?
Absolutely, George. Very, very good question. It's a very structured approach. We have a separate team managing the entire application and admissions process. So there's application forms on the website, or if you're working with an agent, they will have access to these. What we ask for in advance is we want to see that your proof of English. So if you don't have an IELTS certificate or a GCSE certificate, that's fine. We have an online English test we will ask you to sit. So you will submit that. You will submit your most recent school reports. They will then come to the admissions team. They will then forward them to usually myself, but it could be Ellen, it could be Andy. And we will look at those and we will have an interview with that student. The interview is, I would say, between 15 and 25 minutes long. And it's a two-way interview. It's not just me asking you, do I think you're suitable for Abbey College, Cambridge? You're also asking me. I expect you to come asking questions as to why I think the college might be right for you. So it's a two-way thing. That interview, during the interview, I will be writing some notes and I will send those over to our admissions team. And if appropriate, the admissions team will then send out an offer. The offer goes to the student, the parents, and the agent. If the offer is accepted, there's confirmation. And at that point, you get handed over to a team within the college itself, and we will manage that admissions process in terms of your accommodation booking, in terms of all the information you're going to want before you start. We have a dedicated portal for new arrivals. So all that information is held there, and there's a lot of interactivity with the team. At the same time, we have a specialist visa team. So if you're coming on a tier 4 visa, which most of you will be, there's a specialist visa team who will be working with you. They will be holding your hand throughout that entire visa application process. So because we're an international school, we're experts in this. We pride ourselves on our visa application success rate and the experience of students from the moment they first apply through to when they arrive at their boarding house in September. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mike. And we just had an additional question there, just talking about the English requirements. In terms of kind of, do students have to have a kind of a test or a certificate in English to make an application to study with us?
Okay, yeah, a very good question. The short answer to that is we need proof of English. What I normally ask is, and I would say what most applicants do, is they will sit our online test. But that's just one part of the story. The other part of the story is in the interview with myself, Ellen, or Andy, we will also gauge whether or not the English level an applicant has is suitable for the course they've applied for. What we won't do, and this is important, what we won't do is put a student into a course if we don't think they'll be able to access the information. Andy outlined there the academic process. There's a lot of work in that. The English level you have must be suitable for that. So it's in your interest for you to trust us in terms of what course you'll be on. Alongside this, some visas, particularly if you're a slightly older student, maybe if you're 18 now, it may be you need to supply an IELTS certificate as part of your visa process. That's all, again, that's managed by our visa team. They will work with you to identify what you exactly need.
Thank you, Mike. And we've just had a couple of additional questions around that in terms of the English IGCSE as an application, as a qualification towards A-level, I presume, application, which I think, yes, the answer is yes, we can consider your IGCSE. And we've had a question just about the deadline for application for September. And the answer is obviously we accept applications right up until and in some cases past the September application. Is very much based upon the visa requirements if you're an international student. So we would encourage students to make that application early with us, and then we can counsel the student in terms of the various kind of timelines for things like visa application and stuff like that. But you can apply now. You can apply with us right up until into late summer.
Yeah, sorry, John, just to pick you up on that, the other factor there is our boarding does get full. So if you are considering applying, as John says, I would recommend applying really to secure your place in the boarding. Yes, we have 400 plus single rooms and we have additional boarding, but the reality of it is it's a very, very popular college that we expect to fill by September. So if you are considering applying, then please do so. Please don't miss out. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. We had an additional question just about the medicine program, about the requirement for biology. Andy, I'll pass over to you, but basically do students have to take biology for the medicine preparation program?
Yeah, I saw that in the Q&A, and I've just put an answer in there. Yes, whether it's G5 or any university, biology is a prerequisite. It's an absolute requirement for medicine. Yes.
Thank you, Andy. There's an additional question there just about language. Obviously, we don't offer language as a taught course, but can students take as a private candidate while they study here? Is that something we can expand on, or is it something we can support?
We certainly have no plans currently in terms of expanding our academic provision into modern foreign language. But whether or not we can support a student who comes to join the college for their GCSEs or for their A-level in studying an additional subject outside of the college is something that we can look at on a case-by-case basis for sure.
Thank you, Andy. And we've just had an additional question about the foundation program. We don't provide a foundation course for music. We do an engineering course, a business course, and a biomedicine course. So those are the options that we offer. We offer music as an extracurricular program. So hopefully that answers that one. Just a couple of pastoral questions that came through for the team, because I see they're online. We had some questions just about what happens during the holidays and what are the kind of rules around parents visiting at the weekend. So maybe one for Carolyn or Helen to pick up.
Helen, excuse me. Good morning, everyone. Helen, if I hand this over to you as Director of Boarding.
Hello, sorry about the delay there. Yes, hello, good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are. I've got really bad feedback. Carolyn, can you take this?
Okay. Okay, so in terms of what happens during the holidays, obviously at Christmas we are shut, but during Easter and half terms that there is an action-packed program for students to get involved with. So that could be academic, revision support happening. The boarding team are incredible at putting on trips and visits. So a few weeks ago, they went down in one day to a place called Stonehenge, and then they went off to another place called Bath. So we get the children out, we get you out to explore the British countryside. There's also the clip and climb that Mike showed you on his slide. So there's more sort of local activities. So there really is something for everyone to get involved with and to meet new friends and try out new skills. And the boarding team are there to help and encourage students to take part in all of those. During the weekends, parents are allowed to visit, but what we ask is that they write into the head of house, the member of staff in charge of that particular boarding house, and see if permission for them to meet with their child at the weekends. So I think that's right there, Helen. Yeah. So we'd definitely not say no to parents coming, but obviously we need to know who is on site and to ensure that, you know, that event will happen successfully.
Thank you, Carolyn. And I think, you know, the fact that we are open at weekends and obviously during half terms is a big advantage for our international students in that they can stay within the school. And obviously we do encourage students and parents to come and visit, but they can stay within the school. One of the questions we had, and the lovely slides, we saw lots of pictures of students, and obviously we have a couple of lovely students here. In terms of a dress code, can you just kind of give a very brief overview of kind of what our policy is within that?
Yeah, well, obviously, as you can see from the students, and when you've looked at any of the photographs online on Instagram, we don't have a uniform, but we do expect a appropriate sort of business sense of dress. And that is shared with students at the start of the year and throughout the year as well, just to remind them. So it is a sort of business smart casual dress that we have as our code. There is, if you are in year 10 or 11, we do physical education. That's part of the programme that we offer as part of the GCSE. And there is a sports kit that is available for students and their families to purchase as well. So that's the only bit of sort of uniform that we require.
Thank you, Carolyn. I'm just going to rattle through the last few questions, which are more of an academic focus. So thank you very much. And then if anyone does have any questions post-event, we will be in touch. So please feel free to drop us an email or get in touch with us, and we will either answer those or put you in touch with someone who can answer them. Andy, a few questions just on the academic side of things. We had a question about biology GCSE being a prerequisite for biology A-level. I'm not sure if that's specific to medicine or just in general. And then asking if we have a law prep program like we do for medicine. And then the final one was just about the International Foundation program. Unfortunately, that is only available for international students. So for a British student coming in the GCSE, the A-level program is very much open, and that would be the choice for a British student. But Andy, I'll let you answer the other two.
Yeah, certainly. So in terms of a student not taking GCSE biology, they may choose to study biology A-level with us. But it is important to note that much of the kind of the A-level curriculum spirals from and builds upon an assumption around pre-existing knowledge. So if you're not studying GCSE biology or an equivalent, a domestic equivalent, then there is certainly some disadvantage there. And applying it to the medicine program specifically, if you are interested in applying for medicine, you must have either 6 or 7 very high quality GCSEs, and I mean grades 8 or 9, in appropriate subjects such as biology, chemistry, maths, English, plus a couple of other facilitating subjects, or a very high level of your domestic equivalent from whatever the high school qualification, for example, that you might have in your own home country. And in terms of being competitive for your medicine application to university. In terms of the law prep program, that's the pre-degree diploma would be our best law prep in terms of what we actually offer. There isn't a law prep program like for medicine. In our humble opinion, medicine is far more complex than law in terms of the application to university, where the only additional prerequisite for law entry would be the LNAT. That's the admissions test for law. As such, we will help students prep for that, partially through the law PDD, but also through the work of the university advice team, the UCAS advisors, and the directors of studies. Okay, I think that answers those two, John.
Thank you, Andy. And one thing just to add on the medicine side of things, we recently had a webinar with our head of medicine, so for a day. So if you look on the YouTube channel, on our social media, you'll be able to find links to that. We can send that to you. Do just let us know, so you can find a real deep dive into our medicine prep program to give you a bit more information there. I think we've pretty much had all the questions. One question, I think I'll just hand over to our principal, Ellen, at the end here, just to sign off and say goodbye. We had a question about how graduation works. Obviously, graduation is starting to happen this week, and as we go in, and a great time of celebration. So maybe, Ellen, you could just give a quick insight into the plans for graduation this year before we sign off, because I know they're super exciting.
Exactly. So the graduation is a really, really big event in our community, because we get together to celebrate the success, to celebrate the journey of our students, and we have it with staff. We are looking at a much larger venue for next academic year, so that all parents can join us, and all staff and all students. This year, the graduation will take place in the Homerton College, one of the University of Cambridge colleges, and we can't wait. It'll be nice and joyful event. And I think our students really, they have worked so hard. They do deserve a really nice graduation ceremony there. But thank you very much to all participants for attending our virtual open morning, and please do come visit us. It's first-hand experience of our community that is so warm, so vibrant, and you'll see our modern buildings. You'll have a great time when you come and visit us. But we are looking forward to welcoming new students and new parents to our community in September 2023. Thank you.